Presenting Burn, motherfucker, by Five Finger Death Punch. My heart is frozen. My soul's been broken. The whole world's on my motherfucking shoulders and I can't seem to control it. I can't contain it, and I just don't give a shit. You need to feel the way that I feel, but you'll never fucking know it. Burn, motherfucker, burn, motherfucker, burn. You can try, but you can't reach me. Burn, motherfucker, burn. There's nothing you can teach me in hell.
You got anything to kind of start us off with today?
My kid fucking bit me hard, like 3 hours before you got here.
Oh, man.
Like, it might be healing up by now. I was like playing with it. I thought we were having a good time, and then he just bites me on the boob, like hard. And I was like, what the fuck? And he's 1.5, so I'm yelling at him like, that hurts me, Lucas. And he doesn't get it yet. No. He's just laughing and staring at me, and I'm like, are you doing this to kids on the playground? Are you the biter?
Are you raising a little masochist, Cal? Or
apparently,
a little sadist, rather?
I guess. Well, so I realized, so like, I always thought like, oh man, those parents whose kid is the biter, like they fucked up somehow. And now I realize, no, it's just lottery. You just had the biter.
He's got the biter genes. Yeah. Like you can't control that.
Hopefully he starts understanding soon where I can be like, that hurts people, and he'll stop.
We'll bite him back next time.
That's not, I've heard of parents doing that. It's not the worst plan.
For the record, Polishing Turds does not officially endorse child abuse. All right. I have a public service announcement. If you visit a coffee shop sometime this summer, if you order a drink at the register, when that drink is finished and it's called out, please pick it up. Because nothing is more annoying to a podcaster than to have to shout 8 times in a row, Bill, your sugar-free vanilla latte with oat milk is at the bar. I mean, like, it just doesn't it stand to reason, Cal, that if you pay for something, you would want to have it?
You'd think he must have been that absorbed in his amateur screenplay he was writing in here.
I wish it was amateur screenplays and not just like looking at Instagram models on their phone. Like, that's what my customers are up to.
Harry Potter fan fiction.
Welcome to Polishing Turds with Nick and Cal. My name is Nick.
I'm Cal.
And this is the show where we take a deep dive into the wonderful world of bad music. Today we are talking about Five Finger Death Punch.
Yes!
The heavy metal band that's loved by millions and hated by actual metalheads.
I got my truck nuts, my amp energy drink, I'm ready.
You got that Punisher decal on that truck?
Oh, you better believe it. American flag tattoo on my shoulder.
Covered up loosely by your Monster Energy armband?
Dude, if you guys think Limp Bizkit fans were douchey, you're in for a treat today.
No, like, and that's one thing I kind of noticed about this band is that in Limp Bizkit, we talked about the 3 dimensions, the aggro, bitch hurt my feelings, get the fuck up. And there's going to be a lot of overlap with Five Finger Death Punch, except minus the get the fuck up.
Yes.
Because they're Limp Bizkit without the fun, goofy things that made Limp Bizkit enjoyable, like, ironically to us.
I know. I'm not going to be geeking out nearly as much with this one.
No.
Just take the most toxic parts of Fred Durst and say, that's what we want our message to be.
Yeah, doubling down on all of that and like just pumping steroids into it.
Yeah, Fred is more like a skater punk. This is absolutely your psychotic hick relative that shows up and derails any gathering.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Five Finger Death Punch fans, they have a name much like Slipknot's maggots. They're called knuckleheads.
Oh God!
And you just we've already given you some of the tropes. Like shaved heads, tribal tattoos, tank tops, like the kind of guys that think they're cool because they read The Art of War, in their early 20s, and maybe no other books.
I think that's given a lot of credit, man.
These are guys that'll spend most of a first date talking about jujitsu.
Yeah, that's what I was to say. I don't think they've read a thing in their lives. They read an article on Hand to Hand Combat, Maxim magazine, and that's what they're going off of.
Maybe they, read the first 2 chapters of Chuck Liddell's biography.
They made it 2 chapters into a Tom Clancy novel. I know so much shit now.
They just they think they're in SEAL Team 6 after that. But they actually work at Jiffy Lube and hate their boss.
And I won't get into it too up front because I know we have a lot to talk about. But it was interesting you say right off the bat, hated by actual metalheads.
Yeah.
I am an avid metalhead.
Yes.
And I absolutely hate this band, and I'm going to have a lot to say as we go through.
No, this was Cal's suggestion, and I wasn't even really familiar with Five Finger Death Punch when you pitched this one, but I know that you are a very diehard metalhead, and you're kind of a good stand-in for the type of let's call them, for lack of a better term, the metal intelligentsia, right?
Sure.
Just the people who just know. I'm not trying to paint you as a pretentious or anything, but all the subgenres. You've
an absurd amount. It's a weird obsession of mine.
You did a YouTube video once of the top 100 death or thrash metal. What was it?
Death.
Top 100
metal.
Death metal albums. The fact that you can even name 100 death metal albums just is insane to me. But and this is and for some people metal is when they occasionally hear Enter Sandman,
yes,
or something from Megadeth on the radio station, and for some people metal is their life.
Yes.
And for the latter type of people, Five Finger Death Punch is a slap in the face.
That is exactly right. It's not a 5 finger death punch to the face. It is a weak, limp-wristed slap that we just sit there going, what the fuck was that about? Why are these knuckleheads invading my scene and making people think this is what I listen to?
Yes. For the punk rockers in the audience, this is Good Charlotte, or...
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Something along those lines.
Well, and we've talked about it. It's like with Vanilla Ice, what he did to rap.
Yes.
It's very similar. It's appropriating metal.
Yeah. So they take the blast beats, some of the thrash metal riffs, and but they're musically, we'll get into all this, but it's very simplistic. It's very on the nose. A lot of their songs could just be emo, you know, if they just with a small number of tweaks. So for those of you non-knuckleheads in the audience, Five Finger Death Punch, or FFDP, we'll use the two interchangeably. They are a 5-piece metal band from Las Vegas, Nevada. And in an age where it's difficult for rock, let alone metal groups to get success, Five Finger Death Punch have scored multiple platinum albums and have millions of diehard fans. To give you an idea of just how impressive this is, consider that since 2010, only 6 metal albums have been certified platinum. One is Metallica's Hardwired to Self-Destruct. The remaining 5 belong to Five Finger Death Punch. But like many bands we cover, FFDP are arguably hated even more than they're loved. Their style has been derided as bro metal. Their aggro lyrics and hyper-masculine image are considered toxic even by the standards of the genre. And the band's history itself is riddled with tales of alcoholism, abuse, and controversial politics. I know one of the things that helped sell me on this band was when you told me that they made an anti-mask video.
Yeah.
So.
Or at the very least, how do I word this? Pro that kind of person video.
Yeah, we will get into it later in this episode, but it's pretty cringy if you're a thinking person. But does Five Finger Death Punch deserve either the fame or the blowback they've engendered? Well, today we're going to strap on our brass knuckles and jab our way through this debate once and for all. You ready, Cal?
I'm ready.
Well, let's polish this turd. Five Finger Death Punch was formed in 2005 by guitarist Zoltan Bathory and drummer Jeremy Spencer. Bathory is an active martial artist with black belts in jiu-jitsu and judo. He actually, just recently, like a week ago, he competed in a national jiu-jitsu championship and came in second.
Wow.
So we've got another Vanilla Ice situation.
Okay,
where,
so he actually knows what he's talking about a little bit when he says, like, I could fuck you up. Like, he could.
He can, for sure. And the band's name itself is derived from the classic kung fu film Five Fingers of Death, which I haven't seen yet, unfortunately. So over the years, Five Finger Death Punch have gone through numerous lineup changes, but the core of the band centers around Bathory and singer Ivan Moody. Moody, a native of Colorado, was recruited into Five Finger Death Punch following his exit from the experimental nu metal band Motograder.
Nothing to no one. That's what it would be if Fred did it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, don't you just kind of like picture like Limp Bizkit, like without like the corny record scratches,
yeah,
and without the Fred yelp.
It's with a lyricist or a vocalist who sounds like he has been through puberty.
No, like, they're a nu metal band, but they've got like a kind of an interesting gimmick going on. So the name Motograder is actually named after an instrument that they specifically invented for this band. It's this, basically this set of industrial cables that are laid out horizontally and strung together with pickups. And so you just kind of hit the strings or the cables with a stick or a rod of some kind, and then you obviously like bend that to make different notes, and that's what kind of substitutes for the bass in this band is that instrument. That's
very similar to Primus has the whamola.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know like the South Park theme they were using for rock goes. That's the whamola.
Yeah,
and it's very similar. It's like a crank and one string, and he just smacks that string, and
it's like very like almost more closer to performance art than like commercial in metal music.
I like shit like that. That's why the Blue Man Group got big.
100%. Yeah, I think this band is overall way more interesting than Five Finger Death Punch. We think that he should have stayed in that band, and apparently so do people on YouTube.
Right.
But nevertheless, Ivan's charisma as a frontman is a major reason for Five Finger Death Punch's success. Much like Slipknot singer Corey Taylor, Ivan's vocal style alternates between gruff screaming and tuneful singing, and I personally don't think he's that bad of a vocalist.
I go back and forth on this. There's times where I feel like he ruins the songs. There's other times I agree with what you're saying. One thing I have to mention, and we'll get into this when we start getting into what happened to them as they toured through the years, he can't do this shit live.
Yes.
He gets a lot of studio help.
That is true. Like if you watch like even early videos of them live versus more recent ones, he's lost it over the years, and that's partly just because of doing it constantly, but also he's put a lot of alcohol down his throat.
Yes,
and that never works out too well.
There's also a fun fact: this style of screaming, the Corey Taylor style and the Phil Anselmo style.
And he's not as good as, we're not arguing he's as good as those guys.
No.
Like, not by any means. I'm just saying he's competent.
There's a reason, though, that both Phil and Corey had to get throat surgery and then had to, basically change how they sing.
Yes.
This style, it's up front in your throat and it causes vocal cord damage.
Mm.
And these really deep death metal growl guys, it actually doesn't do that.
No,
it's a different,
that comes from the gut.
Yeah. So it's that upfront, like I'm in your face, like yelling like I want to fight. That style you cannot maintain for 30 years of touring.
Yeah, it's more of like a singing and barking is what he does.
Yeah.
And some people kind of get on him for like not being as good of a screamer as like certain death metal vocalists. But like I think he's got a melodic style, and I think it kind of works with what the band is trying to do much of the time. The exception being like when they have to do like a ballad or something where like the singer has to carry it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit tougher for him to make that work.
I have heard much worse singers. I'll at least say that. I will give him that much.
Yeah, definitely. But as a lyricist, Ivan just plain sucks. Like I think Cal and I both agree this is the band's principal weakness right here.
Yeah.
So most of the time his verses are like simplistic to the point of embarrassment. You know, it's just a lot of lazy rhymes, sophomoric angst, you know, just a lot of like rhyming like care with there, or like rain with pain, and like just like that kind of bullshit.
He makes fucking Fred Durst look like a poet laureate.
Yes, he truly so does. Absolutely. I mean, and I don't say that lightly, but like, it's like let's give the audience just one sample of what we're talking about. And Cal, I actually want you to read this because I just really love it when you read out these things. So this is the song Anywhere But Here, as read by Calvin Dennison.
Some say a storm's coming. Some say the end is near.
He stole that from Tool, by the way.
Some say it's all so hazy. I think it's all so clear. If it all ends tomorrow, and if it all disappears, where do you think you're going? Anywhere else but here.
Deep, bruh.
Dude, I was up till like 3 writing those lyrics.
You know, you joke about that, Cal, but I've seen interviews with him where like he has like a whole room dedicated to like just writing lyrics, and it's got like just all these like paintings on the walls of like some bullshit, and like it's just like he's like I gotta go into a deep mental space in order to like get these lyrics out, and it's like he's got to like tear deep down into his soul, like it's oh god.
I look at my biceps, and the left one this is the thunder. The right one's the storm, and I think I need a rhyme for storm. What can I do?
Mourn.
Conform.
Got it.
I'll never conform. Oh, that's good. That's really fucking good.
And meanwhile, it's like the type of shit that like a high school sophomore could belt out 10 minutes before English class.
Do you remember we used to do shit like that? We'd sit around in study hall and we were supposed to be working and write like fake cryptopsy lyrics and things like that.
Yeah, this is like that, except the dude just like hung on to those napkins and like wait to the day where he had to join a band.
It's because he lifts with one guy who is genuinely impressed. He's like, whoa, these are your lyrics? You write lyrics and shit? Holy fuck, man.
I can relate to this. If it all disappears, where am I going? Anywhere but here. Other times, the cringe factor in Ivan's lyrics comes from just how hard he tries to sound tough and manly. Here's another excerpt from a song called Bulletproof.
All right, this is straight from the soul, everyone. You can take my money, and you can take the ride. You can take it all, but never get inside. You can't take my honor, and you can't take my soul. You can't take the fact that you'll never have control. You won't break me, no matter how you try. You can't shake me down. I'm fucking bulletproof.
He didn't even rhyme the last one.
I can't think of a rhyme for try, no matter how hard I try. I'll just use that. I'll use that. It's great.
But like, do you see what I'm going at? Like, just like, what kind of person needs to like assert how tough they are that much, unless they're massively insecure inside?
I can't wait till we start like analyzing the psyche of an Ivan Moody, because
yeah, and
there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, and like, if you want to know like if the personality matches the lyrics, just buckle up, my friends.
He looks. You can guess. We'll just say that.
Now, we're not going to get into the debate over what exact subgenre of metal FFDP falls into, but
Poser metal.
Okay. But the band does have a signature sound. It's defined by these heavy, chugging riffs, kind of groovy rhythm section, and tight, flashy guitar solos. The songs rarely deviate from the standard verse-chorus-verse formula, and nearly all the tracks clock in between 3 and 4 minutes. Like we said, like it's pop music, essentially.
Yep.
Now, in terms of FFDP's influences, there are many, but the band that seems to have had the most direct impact is none other than Texas's own Pantera.
Fun fact for you, Nick. This album by Pantera is actually fairly hated by metalheads for a lot of the same reason.
You hear a song like Walk, and it's actually a much better song than it appears if you really dive into it, but you could trace a line between Walk and a lot of new metal, I think.
Yeah. Oh, big time. That album set the template for bro metal.
Yes.
It's like it's the one that spawned it all. It's kind of a Pandora's box, and it always makes it into like best metal albums of all time list, I think solely based on Rolling Stone magazine editors that are basing it off sales more than what fans actually think.
And also maybe just kind of loose like nostalgia for Dimebag Darrell, who passed away in 2005.
It's a good album. It's definitely good. It's less polarizing than say like the Black Album is to metalheads, but it definitely most of us look at it kind of going like, this is how Five Finger Death Punch came to be.
And they are very kind of bro-y, like they present this image of being like just like the dirtiest, nastiest guys at the bar who will smash a bottle over your head at a moment's notice. But I think there's just a slight touch of, I don't want to say irony, but like there's a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek quality to some of it.
Definitely.
Like, so you just take that little sliver of irony away, and you've got Five Finger Death Punch, who, for all I can tell, are genuinely trying to present themselves as that ultra aggro bro and not self-aware about it at all.
Yes.
Pantera may have set the sonic template for FFDP's groove-heavy style, but when it comes to image, the band leans heavily on trappings associated with martial arts, weaponry, and especially military culture. Five Finger Death Punch has a massive following among active and former U.S. troops, and it often feels like the band is deliberately pandering to them. Consider the following song and album titles: Preemptive Strike, War is the Answer, Got Your Six, Battleborn, Fire in the Hole, Death Before Dishonor, and No One Gets Left Behind, just to name a few. Indeed, the language of combat is as central to FFDP's identity as marijuana is to that of Snoop Dogg.
That is very true.
And we'll talk a bit about this more later, but like, I don't think any like major mainstream band in rock leans as heavily into like the support the troops stuff as Five Finger Death Punch.
No, I don't even think country bands do.
Yeah, I know, right?
This is hardcore, like, I'm a fucking American, I'm right, like...
Yeah, it's like all the stuff that like your right-wing Fox News watching uncle kind of thinks.
Yes.
Intuitively.
Just completely amplified hard.
And we talked about Zoltan being a a martial artist, but I don't think any other members of the band have been in the military, for what it's worth. They just kind of suck their dicks a lot. In 2007, Five Finger Death Punch released their debut album, The Way of the Fist. It immediately made an impact on the hard rock world, driven by its lead single and longtime fan favorite, The Bleeding.
Yeah, this is actually the one that I first heard of this band through. I was cooking at the Blue Moon at the time.
Yeah.
And I was prepping vegetables with this new guy we had just hired who's an ex-con. And we always had JJO down there.
Yeah.
And this song came on and he went nuts. He was like, "Oh yeah, I love this song. It's so fucking good." And he looks exactly like you think he would.
Oh God.
And I remember, at the time I was listening to a lot of classic rock and I was kind of just thinking like, this, like I can show you like so much better metal, dude. And I did not know at the time that I would be having that exact reaction to this band for the next 15 fucking years.
No, it's like, and that type of guy, that like kind of like tattooed ex-con, like barely functional member of society, like unless they are seriously musically interested, like a band like Five Finger Death Punch comes along, they're saying these very on the nose lyrics, like this song's about a breakup, obviously. Supposedly it's inspired by something that really happened to Ivan Moody, like and later she supposedly showed up at a concert in Arizona, and like it kind of sounds too good to be true that happened to him, but he says it's a gut-wrenching moment in my life or something like that. but regardless, like it's just like, this is emo plus blast beats, right?
Yeah,
like
for real.
Like it's just and it's the same. It's emo for people who want something a little bit harder edged and less stigmatized than
right.
emo.
It's not. So if you can picture that chorus, it's like the lying, the bleeding. Picture
The
with
lying, the
picture the emo
bleeding.
singer. The lying. And it's for the
more
manly
conventional.
man.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to get his emotions out in a vulnerable way.
Yeah,
He wants to force them upon you.
It's like he comes to the brink of acknowledging that he has an emotional inner life, but then just when he's about to have that breakthrough, he just turns it around and punches you in the face.
And there's a common theme that we'll get through all these songs of malignant narcissism. At least that's what I think.
Yes.
All these songs are about how all this shit has happened to him, and it's everybody else's fault.
Yes.
Like 10 times everything we talked about Limp Bizkit. It's that, but even worse somehow.
I would say it's like almost worse than Linkin Park. Like
Yeah.
it's that same thing. You did this to me. You suck. You are the reason I'm in pain. It's like every goddamn song is like that.
We'll get to a few more, and you'll start to see exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, in spite of that, and like, I think The Bleeding's actually kind of a fine song, for what it is, but most of the album is actually pretty close to like a classic thrash metal. And
it is. That's fair.
or at least trying to be. And I hate to be that guy again. I feel like we're always saying this, but I think their first album is their best album.
I agree with you. And I think the thing is, the reason we're always saying that, it's a pretty common thing. The band, that saying of like, you have your whole life to write the first album.
Yes.
I think it's true. There's a lot of bands that the first one's genius and then the rest is kind of following the motions. Well, and I'm not trying to call this album genius.
No, but like it's a solid metal album. Like if you were around in 2007, this comes out, these guys are nobody. They're like just, they're on the lower stage of whatever Milwaukee festival that you're at, and they come on, they play their stuff. You're like, all right, that's pretty good. Like, nobody has Five Finger Death Punch tattoos yet. So like it's good for what it is. So I want to play like at least one more song from this album that illustrates that point. So this is kind of one of the more thrashy songs on the album. It's called A Place to Die.
See, I'll admit, it's a good guitar line in that song.
Yeah, no, it's
You can't shake a stick at them for like the music itself is shitty.
No,
they clearly have talent and know how to use their instruments.
Yeah, no, it's well executed. In 2009, Five Finger Death Punch released their second album, War is the Answer. This one included a popular cover of the song Bad Company by the band of the same name. This is one of the ones that kind of catapulted them to the next level.
Yeah.
We won't play this one for you guys, or should we?
No, I don't.
No, okay, yeah.
The thing is, you're going to hear a lot of shitty covers of songs you liked.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of their trademarks. Yeah. But in spite of that, in my view, it wasn't until the band's third album, 2011's American Capitalist, that Five Finger Death Punch really came into their own. And at the same time, became the cringy monstrosity that's embarrassed metal fans ever since.
Jack Daniels, NASCAR, Facebook, MySpace, iPod, Bill Gates, Smith & Wesson, NRA, Firewater, Paleface, Dimebag, Tupac, heavy metal, hip-hop. What you fear most? What you need? What you made me? The American dream. I'm not selling out. I'm buying in. I will not be forgotten. This is my time to shine. I've got the stars to prove that only the strong survive. I'm not afraid of dying. Everyone has their time. Life never favored weakness. Welcome to the pride.
So Ivan Moody is a graduate from the Billy Joel school of like just name a bunch of random buzzwords and call it a song.
Motocross, men's nipples, switchblades, PBR.
It's like, what is he saying?
These are just things that people I hang out with like.
That whole album, it's kind of trying to be deep, but
it's so not. To me, it borders on propaganda at times.
Yeah.
Even the first lines of the first song are, I don't remember them verbatim.
So the opening song is the title track, American Capitalist, where it's like, I'm a goddamn American capitalist. Like, and it just, theoretically, he could be trying to posture as a unrepentant, American businessman or some shit like that. But I think they're also weirdly wrestling with the fact that they're starting to get legitimately famous and wealthy and successful, and they're like kind of trying to like apologize and not apologize for it.
I don't know, man. I feel like it's just straight up pandering of this is the type of people that already like us.
Yeah.
Let's just lean hard into that. I don't know. Hard to say.
Somebody likes Johnny Cash, somebody likes PBR, somebody likes Pepsi and
Yeah.
Brett Favre and King James and all the things he mentions in that song. So just like, it's like, it's like We Didn't Start the Fire. It's like, the heart of rock and roll. We just name a bunch of cities and like, like every radio station on the map will play this song. It's genius.
It even has millennial whoop in it.
Yeah. Ugh.
No, and you can already tell severe musical devolution from the clip we played you like a minute ago.
Yes, no, they are definitely like making full on pop metal
pop music.
Yeah.
It really is.
And you know what? People did respond. This album debuted at number 3 on the Billboard charts, and it was the first Five Finger album to be certified platinum. So the band, bursting with creative energy, they released a double album the next time around in 2013. They released 2 discs called The Wrong Side of Heaven and The Righteous Side of Hell. Volume 1 was released in July of 2013, and Volume 2 came out in November of 2013. I guess this is like their Use Your Illusion or some shit like that, but just like shitty. But nevertheless, this album includes some of my like ironic favorite songs by Five Finger Death Punch, including this song, which might be one of their most aggro of all songs. It's called Burn Motherfucker.
Fuck yeah. Dude, let's go beat up my neighbors when we're done recording.
Like, how many people out there actually have some like specific nemesis that is like, I mean, the lyrics to that song are like, I swear you're out to get me. I'd live, but you won't let me. Like, it's like, who has that figure in your life? I mean, although the people that embrace this kind of shit are the people that like want to apply that sentiment to like their girlfriend's stepdad who like criticized their white dreadlocks.
This is why this is perfect music for the guy who gets in a fight every time he's at the bar.
Yeah.
This is the guy that is like just always is like super machismo and angry at the same time. It's like,
the fuck you say to me?
Super sensitive and thin-skinned. Like you say the wrong thing. He's like, what the fuck?
I know, like, you make one snarky remark about his tank top, and all of a sudden, like,
You calling me gay, motherfucker?
Yeah, all the shit his dad screamed at him when he was 6, like, comes to the surface. Now, these albums also continue the band's tradition of butchering classic songs, including this head-scratching cover of LL Cool J's Mama Said Knock You Out. Oh, boy.
Making the tears rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go boom. Explosion,
I haven't laughed that hard at a song since we did like "I Love You" by Vanilla Ice.
You know, I was going to reference that. Like, remember Vanilla Ice's new metal version of Ice Ice Baby? Like, this is that. It's the exact same thing.
Dude, this is like, actually, you know, we were talking about how the Monstars theme was actually really good. This is what it should have been. Like,
Yeah, this is the music the Monstars actually think in their heads when they're like playing basketball. No, like, public service announcement. If you are in a metal or hard rock or new metal band, like, just do not do rap covers. It doesn't work. You can't, like, just leave it alone. It's fine.
These lyrics are gonna make you call the cops.
I'd rather see you just do an ironic cover of Barbie Girl or something like that.
Yeah,
Just
seriously,
don't touch
anything else.
LL Cool J. By this point, Five Finger Death Punch were one of the biggest bands in hard rock. But now comes that seemingly inevitable part of the episode where I tell you all about how the burden of fame began to grind this band down. And indeed, in the case of Five Finger Death Punch, the constant touring, endless pressure, and snickering criticism wore on all the band members, but perhaps none more so than singer Ivan Moody.
I am so surprised that the man this emotionally fragile man was upset that anyone was making fun of him.
Yeah, you think the guy that, like, complains about what a mess he is on every song, like, couldn't handle, like, the pressures of, like, constant fame and attention and shit.
Well, that's what's so weird about his lyrics. It's like, I'm so tough. Here's all the things that upset me. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's like he's trying to convince himself, you know,
Yeah,
that he actually is tough when he knows it's not true. Most people who just, like, know human psychology and have some sense of self-awareness will pick up on that right away. But guys like your coworker at the Blue Moon, like they will completely miss out on that.
well, they're that guy. They're the same
Yes.
way.
So they take it all at face value.
I'm a motherfucking dangerous guy. Why does no one like me? They can't put two and two together.
So Ivan Moody once described himself during this period as a, quote, totally functioning alcoholic. Although in my view, the adverb functioning is rather debatable. Moody's drinking was so bad during this period that he says he would play a show in front of 20,000 people and wake up the next day remembering none of it. He was almost constantly wasted, and it brought out the worst in him. In April of 2014, Moody was arrested by Australian police on charges of sexually assaulting a female flight attendant. But that was a mere prelude to the ugliness that came next. In April of 2015, Ivan Moody was arrested in a Las Vegas hotel after savagely beating Holly Smith, his on-and-off girlfriend of 17 years. Although the charges were later dropped, police claimed Moody put Smith in a stranglehold, shoved a blanket down her throat, and shouted, "I'm going to fucking kill you," before repeatedly punching her in the face. And while to this day, FFDP fans find ways to excuse this violence, there are photos of Holly Smith's black eye out there, busted blood vessels, and, like, clear marks of physical violence on her face. That is a matter of public record. And
I'm not that surprised they defend it. Because you got to think, this group has if you did a Venn diagram of Five Finger Death Punch fans and Trump voters, yeah, it's pretty much an overlap, and these guys defended Trump through almost all the things he's done.
Trump and, like, every guy that gets accused of something like this.
These types of guys, like, if they perceive he's on my team, now it's defend him no matter what.
Yeah, and, like, it's just like they lack the emotional depth and humility to say, like, okay, I liked this guy's music. It spoke to some part of me for a while, but then I learned about what he did, and it made me change my opinion of him. Like, no, like, Moody's my daddy. He's got to be right. He's like a stepfather to me. Like, I refuse to believe this bitch is lying. Fuck her.
Oh, and there's room for nuance there too, and that's what these types don't get. Of, like, you don't have to swear off Five Finger Death Punch records for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and
at the same time admit Ivan's kind of a piece of shit. Those two things can coexist.
Yeah, like, you can, like, there's room for balance. You know, this all goes into the debate of balancing the art versus the artist, which we're not going to get into, but at the very least, don't defend him and don't try to minimize what this woman, somebody did this to her. Somebody obviously messed her up. Unless you think the police were lying, but Five Finger fans are also like big fans of the police too. Yeah. So how do you square that?
Police never lie.
So, and the band's label didn't really help. When this first came out in the press, a lot of papers inaccurately reported that Holly Smith was Ivan Moody's wife. And like they just got that. She was his girlfriend, not his wife. They just get that wrong.
Sure.
Sometimes you get minor details wrong in news reporting, and they issued a correction. It happens. But they kind of seized upon that and be like, you know, they tried to seize upon that to claim that the whole story was bullshit.
Right.
You know, so it was really just kind of disgusting the way that whole thing played out. So this kind of kicked off a very troubled period for Five Finger Death Punch. So during this period, the band got sued by their own record label. It's very complicated, but basically there was a question of breach of contract, and the label basically saw that Ivan Moody was like just this completely disheveled, like non-functioning alcoholic during this period, and so they tried to sue their way out of it. So it was just, the whole thing was a complete mess. And then there was this other, like, there were many incidents during this period, but one that I thought was interesting was in November of 2016, Ivan Moody showed up to a show too drunk to perform. And after he walked off stage, he later claimed that it was because his mother was dying and he couldn't emotionally handle it. Now, the problem with that was that reporters checked in on Ivan Moody's mother. Turns out she was just fine. Yeah,
and that's why I laughed. Maybe I spoiled it. Dude, that's like, why would you lie about something so easy to disprove?
That's the dog ate my homework.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, dude.
I can't do this. Why not? My mom is dying, I guess.
I know, that's like a Michael Scott thing to do. And then it kind of reached its peak. A few months later, they were performing a show in the Netherlands. And for this one, Ivan arrived 10 minutes late. And apparently it wasn't the first time, because the band already had a singer who was ready to fill in for him. It was Tommy Vext from the band Bad Wolves.
Yep.
And so there's video of this entire performance online. Just Google Tilburg, Netherlands, Five Finger Death Punch. And so Tommy Vext performs the first two songs, and he does a reasonable job, and the band doesn't seem too displeased to have him there.
Right. Yeah, it's some stability here.
Yeah. And then Ivan shows up kind of in mid-song, and the crowd cheers, like, yay, here's our guy. And then Ivan sings a song, and then they go backstage for a while, like the stage goes dark, and then like 5 minutes later they come back out. And Moody makes a big stink about how he's the only real singer of Five Finger Death Punch. Ugh. And then he does all this like posturing, and they're just talking all this shit. And then the band like looks like very just kind of disgruntled and annoyed with him on stage. And like just in between songs, they're like bickering with each other. Like you could tell like they are not having a good time. And they keep going back off stage to like, I guess presumably just like argue with each other. And then at one point they come back out to perform another song. And Ivan Moody says, just so you know, this is my last show with Five Finger Death Punch.
He's an emotional child.
I know.
I use the word narcissist very purposefully. He's that type of person. They have a strong victim mentality of, how could my band do this to me? And it sounds like you've been showing up drunk and late for a long time, man. Yeah, like you did this to you.
Yeah, they're just trying to like give the fans their money's worth, and you're completely fucking everything up. So it kind of reaches its peak when during the song "Burn Motherfucker," lead guitarist Jason Hook throws his instrument to the ground, and he walks off stage. And so the rest of the band, they're just kind of standing there, kind of looking at each other, like, and they kind of try to awkwardly keep things going. Like Ivan says to the crowd, like, say, burn, motherfucker, burn. And the crowd chants, burn, motherfucker. Like, but they can only do that for so long. So before
How many bird motherfuckers do I have before they're bored?
Then eventually they realize that Jason isn't coming back, so they just finish the song and that's it. Like,
wow.
So the whole show is a goddamn train wreck, and it's pretty funny to watch. So, but this was kind of that, you know, like straw that broke the camel's back moment in terms of forcing the band to force Ivan Moody to confront his issues and, you know, enter rehab, basically. And to give you an idea of just how bad his alcoholism was at this point, when he entered the rehab facility, his blood alcohol level was 0.36. Ivan claims that he couldn't walk or use the bathroom for the first few days of his rehab stint, and the clinic even hired a staff member to monitor him 24/7 just to make sure he didn't die.
Yeah, at that point, when you can even get to 0.36 and not die,
yeah,
you're at that point where you need it when you wake up.
Yeah, that is like, you know, bottle of vodka like before you have a glass of water or orange juice in the morning.
Yep.
That's very severe. But, you know, ultimately he did manage to get clean, to his credit. And by all accounts, he has been healthy and sober ever since. So I guess I'll give him credit for that.
Now he's just a sober toxic narcissist.
Yeah, I mean, he should be in jail probably, but like at least he's sober, I guess. Nevertheless, you know, as you can tell, from the years 2015 to 2018 roughly, this band was a mess. And their albums from this period, you know, they prove that all this nonstop chaos dampened what little creativity they had to begin with. I want to highlight their 2015 album, Got Your Six. It's their 6th album. It's called Got Your Six. Get it? That's so clever, bro!
How late did you stay up thinking of that? I usually get to bed around 3, but, you know, it seems like that was like 4.
Yeah, it took me forever to figure it out, but it was fucking genius. And on this album, like all of that macho aggression that we've been talking about, it devolves into self-parody. And I wanted to play for you the album's closer, a song called Boots and Blood. And on this album, Ivan Moody seems to channel his inner chocolate starfish.
Think of one word to change the world, and now put it into action. Fuck! Fuck all mind games, fuck all the lies. Fuck what you think here, fuck all of you guys. Fuck what you've heard, and fuck what you've said. Fuck all your words, you're all locked in your heads. I won't waste words on you. Fuck it all. I will rain down on you. Boots and blood to give it all. Boots and blood to save it all. Boots and blood to end it all.
God, Cal, I'm so scared that these guys are just going to mow me down with an M60. They sound so tough.
I don't get what their lyrics mean half the time. He's like, you know, to end it all, to fight it all, and then 2 seconds he's like, fuck it.
These are all the reasons I'm mad at my stepdad.
Dude, I'm actively losing brain cells doing this episode.
Dude, I had to listen to this band for a month. But if you think that's bad, the band's next album is even worse. This one is called And Justice for None, which, of course, is a take on Metallica's And Justice for All. And this is the one that even hardcore Five Finger Death Punch fans, like, usually this one, they're like, I don't know about that one.
Every band has one of those.
Yeah. This one, like, there were so many ones I wanted to pick, but we only have so much time for you. So I'm going to play the album's lead single, a song called Fake.
This is the end, I can't take anymore. This is where I'm fucking drawing the line. You talk a great game, trying to make a big name. Soon you're gonna run out of time.
Oh my god. Dude, I feel like we did Limp Bizkit dirty. You know, like if you compare like Counterfeit, those themes of being fake to this, again, it's like Fred Durst looks like a pretty smart guy.
I know. Like,
this is so bad.
Maybe that's a statement of just how society has regressed in the past like 30 years, but and just like, so just conjure if the type of person that would identify with that song. Like
it's got to be people they're like angry and they don't understand why or at what. It's just generic, like just generic.
They are.
You're a fake motherfucker. I hate you, motherfucker. That can apply to anyone you don't like.
It's because like they work at Taco Bell. And like they have another guy who works the same shift at Taco Bell, but the other guy shows up on time, tucks in his shirt, is nice to customers, and is speedy with the orders.
Fuck that guy.
But so the manager likes the other guy better. But the 5 Finger employee is like just disgruntled, like he's a fake motherfucker. I hate Todd.
Why did he get a 10-cent raise?
So yeah, this is and this whole album, like this is kind of FFDP's fuck the critics album. Like we always mention how at some point a band releases an album that is just all about like how we don't care what you think to all the people that are justly criticizing them.
I know, and all those albums have a common theme of it seems like you really care.
Yes, like you realize you could write about anything. Like you could write about the snow-capped mountains of Nepal. Like, but you're writing about how this TMZ guy fucked you over, which is in one of their songs.
Oh God, yeah. True artists when they are at their Don't Care album, they do something completely out there and weird. Here's 10 songs about ham sandwiches in an avant-garde style. Like that's how you say fuck you.
Yeah, just like you make it musically difficult or musically challenging, to wrap your head around, not just be like, if you are, let's say for the sake of argument, there is a fake motherfucker out there that this song was directed at. That person hearing this song, are they going to reevaluate their life?
No,
and try to become more genuine.
Like, dude, I have a song about me now. I got under Ivan's skin that fucking bad. That's awesome.
And there's a quote from roughly this time period. There's a song on this album called Champagne. It's SHAM space PAIN. Like get it, champagne, champagne. I know. This is like as clever as this band gets, but
dude, you keep pulling all-nighters and coming up with this great stuff.
I drank 16 Red Bulls. It took me to a higher place. But like, so this is what Zoltan Bathory had to say about that song. He says, quote, "Everyone has a different way of dealing with moments when life hands them lemons. Some complain and some make lemonade. Us, we pour gasoline on it and then we hit it with a rocket launcher."
And then later I die from scurvy because all I really have is the lemons.
It's like way to like miss the metaphor, dude. Like, I feel like that quote encapsulates 5 Finger Death Punch perfectly.
Yeah, they would rather starve to spite you than just eat some lemons.
Yeah, they'll launch a rocket launcher at a lemon just to prove like that they are more hardcore than you, bitch.
Dude, if they had gas in a rocket launcher and we were in some apocalypse situation where like all they were left with was lemons, think how many lemons you could get if you just traded. No, you could ward off rickets for like a long time.
I watched Waterworld recently, and like a guy like goes out of his way to steal another guy's lime tree because it's an extremely valuable commodity in that situation.
Or instead of blowing up the lemons, just be like, "Give me all your fucking lemons. I have a rocket launcher."
Yeah, right. In 2020, 5 Finger Death Punch released their most recent studio album, F8. Or Fate.
Jesus Christ.
It's their 8th album, and this one's called Fate. Just if you're at home and the knife is to your neck because like you're so overwhelmed by the creativity of 5 Finger that you realize you'll never accomplish like this level of genius in your life, it gets better, people. I'm so sorry. Someday if you work really hard, you'll be as clever as Ivan Moody. Just hold on, people. Just hold on. But actually, just kidding aside, like this album, I think is marginally better than the previous two records. You know, it's got more sonic diversity, a little bit better songwriting. You know, there's more kind of strings and slower songs. Like, so they're at least trying. And this is the first album that they all did completely sober. So at least has that going for it. And I won't like harp on it too much, but I wanted to play one particular song from this album. And it's not really notable for the song itself. It's notable for the music video that accompanied it. So this came out in October of 2020, right during the middle of the COVID pandemic and right during the middle of the American election, which, as you'll recall, was a very tense time. A lot of anxiety going on during that period. So Five Finger Death Punch put out this video for the song Living the Dream. And this is the one that we mentioned earlier that many people accused of being anti-mask. So right now, Cal and I are going to watch the video in its entirety, and we're going to react to it and let you know what we think. All right, let's do this.
All right.
So it opens with an epigram. Fiction reveals truth that reality obscures. Ralph Waldo Emerson, whom they all have extensively read, I'm sure. So now, can you describe what's happening, Cal?
Yeah, we got zombies, and they're grabbing onto a shopping cart.
A shopping cart filled with toilet paper, because like...
Yep, everyone was hoarding toilet paper.
Yeah, they're still making those jokes 6 months after the fact.
And apparently, you know, us people are the zombies.
Yeah.
Now we've got a drunk-ass Captain America snorting coke in the bar off his own shield.
Yes.
Mowing hot dogs. All right, this
got
is
a
kind of
beer
funny.
gut. Yeah. And now they're throwing up at the bar these two competing Captain Americas, I guess. Oh, and he's got a Tide Pod.
Iron Man's eating Tide Pods.
So now you've got a line of people, and they're all like putting on masks, and this woman who's wearing a...
Is that a Star of David? That's...
No, that's
okay.
a Chinese star.
Okay.
Like, so she's got a button with the Chinese, like kind of a vaguely Chinese, like, logo on it. And so so there's this, like, straight white all-American male, and he puts on a mask. He doesn't seem to want to do it, but he puts on the mask, and she gives him a button that says compliant. And the button has the communist hammer and sickle on it. So this socialist lady is rewarding that hard-working white American male for being compliant. Now what's happening?
Well, now I don't know what... She's walking on the street with a bunch of chains like dog leashes, but we don't know what's on the leashes yet.
Yeah, so they're walking on the street. They're wearing masks. This all-American man and his wife, and here's some gimps.
Oh, it's gimps.
So this,
just walking my gimps.
So the Chinese communist lady is walking these gimps that are chained to her, and I don't know who they're supposed to represent. She's got her button says exempt, and it's got like the Chinese red and yellow stars on it. But now, all of a sudden, something's happened. Now she sees the American flag.
Oh, shit.
And she's offended by it. Oh, my God. And then the all-American guy, he's confused, but this lady's mad. So she unleashes the gimps, and the gimps break into the popcorn stand where the American flag was, and they start smashing it up.
So what? I don't get...
I think
like Colin Kaepernick's like...
I think it's supposed to be like Antifa, right?
Oh, okay.
Right? Like just like, so here are these hoodlums smashing up on a stand because it had the American flag on it.
They don't appreciate what they got.
So now the all-American guy, he takes his mask off. And
shit.
And so does his hot girlfriend, and he walks up towards the hot dog stand, and he's gonna stop this. And here's Ivan Moody and the rest of the band, and they're charging with an American flag in their hands.
Oh my God, dude!
What are they charging against? Who's the enemy? Like
the idea of people. I don't know, man. You're asking me to get in the psyche of a Trump supporter here.
Yeah, like it's just there's a lot of like suggestive logos of like socialists and like I think the Chinese button woman is supposed to be Hillary Clinton or someone like that.
A founding father just woke up from his nightmare. This was all a nightmare.
All a dream. And they want him to sign, I guess, the Declaration of Independence. So this is the nightmare of George Washington, that one day his people would live in a world where people had to briefly wear masks to avoid a dangerous disease.
Dude, okay, so you guys are gonna have to just watch that, do your homework on it, because that was wild.
There's a lot going on there.
That's a lot to unpack, a lot more than when we tried doing this with Allison Gold.
Yeah, no,
because this was, you'd have to get into how misled people with these beliefs are.
Yes,
in the first place, of like you said, what are they even charging against? It's this vague idea of what they perceive as their enemy, but they themselves can't define it. If they could, they'd put it in the fucking video. Instead, they made a normal white lady with a Chinese pin and a bunch of gimps on chains, and that was their enemy. That they, I'm so confused.
I think this is their attempt to try and be artistic, and it's this theme of we're the real Americans. We're gonna stand up to all this authoritarian nonsense and you want to be like, guys, COVID is a virus. Yes,
stand up to it by getting vaccinated. Jesus Christ.
I know, but just for people who don't live in this country, there was a very, very large segment of the population that viewed the minor restrictions that we place to try to combat the disease as an authoritarian overreach. The same people who, by the way, support every war and the Patriot Act and every bad thing that we've done, they're
the law and order party.
Yeah. So it's more dog whistling than actual art going on in this video.
Yeah, we're going to have to almost unpack that at a deeper level.
We could do a whole episode on that video. It's so strange. But I guess for the record, to be fair, I should share with you Five Fingers' take on this, because they said when people accused them of being anti-mask, they were like, "Oh no, it's not anti-mask."
How is it not? I'm so the plot line of the video, they all saved the day when they ripped their masks off. I don't understand.
Well, so this is Zoltan Bathory's statement in response to the controversy surrounding the video. He says, quote, "As much as some news sites used anti-mask as a clickbait title, let's make it crystal clear. In a fictional story, amongst shopping cart zombies, Tide Pod eating fat superheroes, and all the other metaphors, they're metaphors, Cal, don't you get it? Why would anyone think the mask scene isn't one? The mask segments are about hypocrisy on the highest level, when the rules are made for you, but those who made them are exempt. Pretty much the standard in all dictatorships and totalitarian regimes. I had the displeasure of growing up in one." That's true, by the way. He grew up in Soviet Hungary. So hence the reference, he says, to continue his quote. "So no, the scene in question is not about the masks. It is not an anti-mask message. In fact, you can go to fivefingerdeathpunch.com right now and buy some cool ones."
Oh my God.
So that's just a
I'm gonna hawk my masks.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's smart of him, I guess. But I don't get what he's saying. It's about hypocrisy on the highest level when the rules are made for you, but those who made them are exempt.
I'm willing to bet these are all big Trump guys, and it's he is the rules at the highest level. So what the fuck are you talking about?
And as soon as Fauci started telling people to wear masks, he wore one himself. And maybe not Trump, but real leaders like Gavin Newsom in California, Tony Evers here in Wisconsin, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, they wore masks the entire time. Joe Biden basically stayed out of the entire presidential campaign because he was trying to encourage people to socially distance.
Right.
What is he talking about? Who's being hypocrites about masks? I don't get it.
That sums up the entire thing with all these people is they're living this alternate reality. And if you were to ask them, I don't think they're going to explain it in a coherent way to you.
Yeah. And so, like we said, like I think Zoltan, like even more so than Ivan Moody, is like the one that's principally responsible for like a lot of the super right-wing stuff in a Five Finger Death Punch.
I could see that. Ivan he's very personal.
Yes.
He's very involved in just his life, his feelings, narcissist guy.
Yes. But Zoltan, like he grew up in a communist country. And so like a lot of people that grow up in those types of regimes, and I'm not minimizing that, like communism sucks. Like you don't want to grow up in that type of government. But a lot of people, like when they come to a place like America, they like almost overcompensate a little bit. And he's like the most rah USA guy that you can imagine. And that leads to you kind of ignoring some of the things that are fucked up about the American government and and American society. But nevertheless, that wasn't the only cringy thing to come from the FFDP universe in 2020. That same year, drummer Jeremy Spencer, who had left the band in 2018, returned with a brand new side project, Psychosexual. And I gotta thank Cal for turning me onto this, like literally days before we were supposed to record. Like he told me that, like, I knew that the guy did some kind of side project, but he told me like the drummer from Five Finger did this other band. You absolutely have to cover it.
Yeah, I saw it on a worst albums of the year list.
it deservedly so.
And then when I saw that it was the guy from Five Finger, I was like, oh, we're sticking this in right at the end.
So just to give you a little bit of background, so Jeremy Spencer left Five Finger Death Punch in 2018. He said it was because of back issues. He did have back surgery and had to recover from that. But then 6 months after that, he announced that he had been sworn in as a police reserve officer in his hometown of Rockport, Indiana. Yep, he became a cop, or not a cop, but a reserve cop in Rockport, Indiana. Do you know how many people live in Rockport, Indiana, Cal?
2,000.
2,270.
Nice. That was a good Price is Right type of guess.
Right. Yeah, so obviously that town needs a lot of extra help.
They need the reserve cops.
Massive crime problem. So.
It's if you need 2 people to hold down drunk Grandpa Rebus or whatever.
All 3 of the teenagers are loitering in front of the gas station. Quick, where's the guy from that band? Call him up. He's got to get down here. So, I mean, I guess he said the whole thing was about like giving back to the community. Like, come on, dude, you're just trying to look cool. Like,
yeah,
it's like, remember that one lyric from that Dead Kennedys song, like, or the guy who shows off his guns to his 16-year-old daughter's friends, whose sense of pride and joy is being in the police reserve. Like, that's Jeremy Spencer. Like, so, all right. So he did that. He became a police reserve officer. I'm sure he took lots of bullets and saved lots of lives in Indiana. But he had bigger things to do than that. So in September of 2019, Spencer announced that he would be acting, directing, writing, and providing music for a softcore porn parody series called Lady Killer TV.
Oh, yeah.
So this thing, and I haven't been able to dig it up. I'm not sure I want to. I think the idea is that like each episode of this show thing, whatever it is, it's supposed to be a spoof of a classic horror movie. And they've got like these like kind of softcore porn actresses, and they just, I'm sure it's super clever.
Is there even a market for softcore porn? Like, who's watching that? It's gotta be like a 65-year-old who has a dial-up modem, and that's why he's stuck watching it.
Yeah, it's just like guys in the Midwest who are so repressed that even though we live in this golden age of internet access to whatever you want, you're still kind of wading your way through the waters of softcore.
Oh, that's a little wild for me.
I don't know about that. But then, so that's just like, that's the kind of guy that Jeremy Spencer is. And so then flash forward about a year later to 2020 when he launches this band Psychosexual. Now, Psychosexual call themselves a shock rock group. And the whole gimmick is that he dresses up as the devil. He calls himself Devil Daddy. Ugh. And his costume is like, it's, you'd think it like, because they're in a metal band, that it'd be like this really cool, like, you know, like goat skin Lucifer mask, but no, it's like this fucking like Party City, like just 50s devil
it's
costume.
The Blue Man Group, except it's the Red Man guy.
Yeah,
it's just him in red paint.
I read myself, and like just fucking play this song.
Yeah.
It's
Would you like to take a little bit? One that leads to thicker riddles. We're moving fast, we're about to fly. Haven't left the ground, but we touched the sky. I'm gonna be the one that gets you there. You'll scream God's name without saying a prayer. Let the sin begin. You'll be wiping my love that's dripping from your chin. Let the sin begin. Your devil daddy's gonna spank you over again. Let the sin begin. The game is nail you to the bed, and you know I'm gonna win. Let the sin begin. I'll be fucking you with fire like you never been. Wanna live for all eternity.
Dude,
I almost feel like we got to apologize to our audience for
uncomfortable.
subjecting them to that.
he somehow, in trying to make his weird sex band, like made the only song that guarantees no woman will be within 150 feet of him.
Right, ladies, did you all get wet to that? Like, it's like,
And dude, this just goes to, this is exactly how I picture a reserve cop in Rockport, Indiana. Is
like,
this man?
This is edgy, yeah. Yeah, oh my God.
This is the upholder of the law in that area.
I mean, like, I don't know where to begin with this. Like, obviously the music, the production are garbage. The lyrics are an absolute atrocity. He can't sing. Like, obviously there's a lot of processing on the vocals. Yeah. Like, it's just like, I almost feel like Ivan Moody put him up to this because he wanted to make himself seem like a better, much the same way that like we kind of reevaluated Fred Durst ever hear Ivan Moody.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of thinking
Ivan's not
that bad.
He's not that fucking weird drummer that became the devil daddy or whatever. Dude, when that song starts, like, I can't think of a single person I know, even the biggest pieces of shit I know, who would hear that and be like, oh fuck yeah, this is my song. It's awkward, man. It's cringy.
It's just so and like the whole thing, it's shock rock that doesn't shock. It shocks in how bad it is, but like, imagine like no one's gonna be offended by that. It's 2021 at the time we're recording this. Like, people have seen pretty much everything. I mean, maybe in like 1951, what he's doing is gonna seem edgy and like, ooh, this is gonna ruffle some feathers.
Yeah, to actually ruffle feathers anymore, it needs to be a little based in reality somehow.
Yes,
like make a song about how much you don't like Trump, or, or a podcast. Today's example.
Or how much you do like Trump. Like, just like that's
either one.
That's really the only way to really like
you'll get people all
off.
Down your throat.
But like, this is like kind of like harkening back to kind of like PMRC era like offense. It's like where people, like, the mere mention of the devil is enough to like kind of set people on edge.
I could picture like my most sheltered coworkers probably hearing that and just kind of be like, this is gross, and turning it off in like 15 seconds. Yeah. It's not going to change their life.
It's like, oh my God, he's talking about Satan and sex. So this album was released in the middle of 2020. The reviews were predictably pretty bad. And then, interestingly, in early 2021, they pulled the entire thing off of all streaming platforms, and basically off of the internet entirely. And we were lucky enough to get that little clip that we played for you. But so they just pulled this entire thing without explanation. And
it's because he figured it out. He's like, oh, the douchebag Ivan set me up. He said this would be cool.
I mean, what he says is that they put out the album, but then they wrote this other song called Devil from Hell, which he thought was like a better introduction to the band and a better single. It's not. Trust us. It's just as bad as this garbage. The chorus literally goes, I'm a devil from hell, a motherfucking devil from hell.
Wow. Yeah. Subversive.
No, if you really want to, Google Devil from Hell and listen to this absolute masterpiece of a single. But no, it's absolute garbage. And it makes me uncomfortable that he doesn't seem to realize how bad it is.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's so awful. I honestly feel bad for him.
I guarantee you that man has never given a human being an orgasm.
No, God, no. It's like, okay, hey, I get to fuck the guy from Five Finger Death Punch. Like 2 days later, oh, my head hurts and that's weird.
Yeah.
That's this guy's entire life. All right, so that about wraps up our timeline of Five Finger Death Punch. And here I want to just kind of take a moment to talk about some of the larger issues that surround this band. And in particular, I want to talk about two things. The relationship between this band and the metal community, and the relationship between the band and America's military. So let's start with a metal thing. When Five Finger Death Punch first started, when they released their first album, they accompanied it with this little kind of manifesto, which described their music as, quote, true metal, undiluted, raw as metal was always meant to be. In fact, for Five Finger Death Punch, it was important that everyone involved at any stage of the recording was a diehard metalhead. So they clearly care about, being perceived as authentically metal, but that's not really how it turned out, as we've already mentioned.
No.
And just to kind of give you an example of what we're talking about, consider this quote from a writer named Christy Love. She's a self-identified metalhead who writes for the Houston Press. She writes, quote, while the foundations of metal were laid by the sludgy, down-tuned guitars of doom and darkness from bands like Black Sabbath, St. Vitus, Pentagram, and Venom, bro metal is the redneck cousin that shows up to family holidays proudly displaying his ignorance. You know the type. The aggro, angry, self-righteous, ostentatious display of hyper-masculinity that a fellow Houston Press writer once described as, quote, bad riffs and some cretin with a shaved head barking about being tough. And I think that's pretty on point.
Yeah, it's hard to follow that up. She put that very well.
So, and I know that, we mentioned in the beginning, and fans of the show already kind of know that, like, Cal, you are, like, the much bigger metalhead between the two of us. So why do you think that metal fans have just such a strong reaction to Five Finger Death Punch?
I think it is the appropriation of our genre, much like what pissed off true old school rap fans about people like Vanilla Ice.
Mm-hmm.
This is watching, like, you set up a cool party with your friends, and then a bunch of fucking jocks show up and say, we're bringing the party, we're the real party, completely misunderstanding what you were doing, what you even like in the first place.
Yeah.
So when they say that they're true metal, it's a gross misunderstanding of what metalheads even like in the genre.
So what do metalheads like that Five Finger Death Punch like maybe misses out on or doesn't provide?
Well, there's a couple types. So what you'll find really quickly with metalheads if you go to a lot of shows is they're not all testosteroned up, angry bros usually.
No,
it's mostly fucking nerds.
Yeah, they're like
it really is.
They're like D&D type kids most of the time, right?
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna, I guess, get into. Is so a lot of people that like it played some type of instrument growing up, and either guitar, or drums, or whatever. And these are the kids that tend to get into metal, like Dream Theater.
Yeah,
like that. They like the virtuosic playing.
It's very technically complex, progressive music.
And these types,
in a lot of cases,
they want to hear time signature changes, weird keys, experimentation,
which you don't get in most other genres outside of like jazz, which nobody listens to anymore. Yeah, so like metal is one of the few genres where musical sophistication seems to be actively encouraged and welcomed.
Yes.
And then, you heard all those songs that we played. Like, they're good,
it's pop music,
but it's not sophisticated, and it's still very much in line with the types of chord progressions and song structures that you associate with pop rock music.
Well, and then there's the types that they get really into heavy death metal or black metal or even like funeral doom, all the weird genres.
Yeah,
and these are the types that value outsider music, just like a punk rock person. They want it to be off-putting. they want it that not everyone likes this.
Yeah. If you listen to our Discharge minisode and you probably heard some sounds that kind of maybe like might have freaked you out a little bit, and that's okay. But there's a whole universe of people who kind of want to gravitate towards something like that. Like that's
that's kind of the point. It's like,
yeah.
I don't like mainstream music, or like I don't associate well with, the average person.
Yes.
And that's why, like, you're not going to see Burzum topping the charts. That's not the point of that band. It's trying to capture people who feel alienated, and it's making a purposely off-putting sound. And that's another spot that Five Finger just missed. They don't even try and hit that mark. They're trying to sell records. They're trying to be big.
No, like they are a pop band, and there's nothing objectively wrong with being a pop band, but I think a lot of people come into Five Finger Death Punch, and maybe that's like one of the only metal bands that they know about.
Yeah, it's like that and Metallica are there.
So like people, like I think metalheads just want the rest of the world to realize that there's more to it than that.
I think the analogy I thought of, so I eat a lot of sushi. I really like sushi. And I just thought, let's say you're really into, like, you just want a piece of raw fish on some rice, and you're really into this, and it gets you really excited to try new kinds, or like where the fish is sourced. You have a favorite restaurant, and you know when they get their freshest fish in.
Yeah. You're
super into it, and then you meet someone, and they're like, oh, I like sushi too. And you're like, wow, really? Maybe I can have a good conversation with this person. Let's go get California rolls at Hy-Vee. That's what this is.
Exactly.
So when someone's like, oh, I like heavy metal, you ever listen to Five Finger Death Punch? There's like this profound disappointment of like, never mind.
Dude, I've worked in the coffee industry for, like over 10 years now. And, I've worked with some very, high end, like some of the like revered, like artisan coffee roasters in Wisconsin. And so one place that I used to work at, we served a brand that I'm very fond of and very proud of. And they source everything that they grow, and they roast it to absolute dialed in perfection. And they are very serious about like how they present and how they brew their coffee. And like I had a new customer come in and try it, and literally the response was like, yeah, this is like as good as McDonald's.
Oh God, I know. And then you just die inside. You're like, thanks, I guess.
Yeah, and like
fuck
being
you though,
and like being a customer service guy, be like, yeah, well, thank you, that's great.
Inside you're dying.
But one kind of devil's advocate argument I want to throw out there, and I'm glad you mentioned Burzum earlier, because this, he's going to probably come up in this. In that Christy Love quote, we kind of talked about all the toxicity of Five Finger Death Punch and their culture of like the aggro hyper masculine, and it's all bad. Like and clearly it manifests itself in real life too in some bad ways, but. With a lot of metal bands, like including some very revered artists, like Burzum, there's some very problematic politics in that scene as well. And perhaps you can elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, I'll just keep using Burzum as an example. He's if anyone has heard of black metal at all in our audience, they probably already know this guy.
Yeah.
He was famous he burned a bunch of churches in Norway.
Yes.
And then he went on to murder his former bandmate. And then when he got out of jail for doing that, he made a lot of really racist ass YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Talking about just the superiority of his people, basically.
Yeah, just kind of like merging, it's like a weird merger of like, Norwegian folklore and like paganism and like Nazis and just really just kind of creepy dude in his basement shit.
It is. It's totally. And the thing with, his name's Varg in real life. The thing with him is, I'm not going to defend him. He's a piece of shit. Yeah. He really is. But I think the difference between what he does and a lot of bands like it, with black metal, the focus isn't on the lyrics so much. He writes these long atmospheric pieces, and the vocals are usually back in the track, and they're sung in Norwegian, or most of these are in other languages.
Yeah.
And they're usually about like orcs and shit. They're usually not even remotely about any of his personal beliefs.
Yeah.
So I think it's easier to separate the art from the artist then. You can just say, yeah, Varg sucks, but I like that one album he made about a bunch of Lord of the Rings crap.
Yeah.
And the difference between that and Five Finger Death Punch, even though what Varg does is objectively worse, he did terrible things.
Yeah.
Five Finger Death Punch puts it right on their forehead like a fucking advertisement.
Yeah.
And those lyrics are the main focus.
It's true. Like Five Finger Death Punch doesn't work if you don't understand every single line that he says.
Right. You are supposed to relate to it hard.
And there's actually a quote that I found from Ivan Moody where he was asked why his band has succeeded where other metal groups haven't been as successful. And he kind of intimated that part of it was because his lyrics are so accessible. And he offered this quote, which I just think is kind of juicy. He says, quote, "A lot of metal guys are too busy writing songs about burning churches and holding swords in the air while riding off on stallions. I don't get
it." He's not wrong.
Right?
And that is, again, that goes to what I was saying. It's like, yeah, that is why you sold millions, Ivan, and Varg has not.
Yeah.
But again, it's kind of missing the point of like, Varg was never trying to sell millions. He's a messed up dude making messed up music for a few people that are morbidly curious about that kind of thing.
Yeah. I guess, like, you know, the most like charitable thing I could say towards like Ivan's side of that argument is like people generally recognize that Burzum's politics are shit, but like the metal intelligentsia, like the people who like are the critics and the hardcore fans of black metal, like they respect Burzum, or at least they respect Burzum's music, even though they don't respect him. You know, whereas with Ivan Moody, they don't respect either him or the music. And that clearly triggers him. He's written a number of songs that are clearly about how much he doesn't care what you snobby metalheads think, when clearly he does.
Well, and that's also what's weird to me, that real metal to him is about beating your chest and posturing. And because let's get off the racist bands. Let's say like Black Sabbath or Pentagram, like an old school 70s group.
Yeah.
Most of this stuff is just about like fantasy and escapism and occasionally about politics, but it's usually easy, light politics, like nuclear war is bad. Like it's they're not getting too deep on anything. So for him to sit there and say like real metal is about, you know, getting in there and talking about people you want to beat the shit out of, it's like, not really, dude. This is your interpretation.
Yeah, absolutely. So that kind of brings us to the next thing I want to talk about. And this is kind of more towards the political side of Five Finger Death Punch. And specifically, I want to kind of break down the intense bond that exists between this band and the American military. Now, from day one, Five Finger Death Punch have been outspoken proponents of America's soldiers and law enforcement. And while their support the troops message is one that's pretty much ubiquitous in American culture, I would argue that perhaps this association is more problematic than it might initially appear. Now, this is a very delicate issue, and I want to clarify exactly what I mean. First of all, Cal and I have nothing but respect for the men and women who serve in America's military, and every other country's military for that matter. Second, we want to acknowledge that the members of Five Finger Death Punch have done a great deal of charity work supporting causes related to military and law enforcement, and for this they genuinely deserve credit. The band has been particularly attentive to the problems of homelessness and post-traumatic stress disorder among U.S. veterans. In fact, their music video for The Wrong Side of Heaven was entirely devoted to the subject. And indeed, this is a major problem. According to the most recent estimates, between 10 and 20% of veterans suffer from PTSD, and over 37,000 vets are without stable housing. But here's the thing. Homelessness is not a problem exclusive to veterans. At least 580,000 Americans were homeless as of January 2020, and that was before the COVID pandemic. This situation, in my view, is absolutely inexcusable. I don't care how bad somebody has fucked up their life. Nobody deserves to live without stable housing, least of all in the richest country in the history of the world. And if you think America just lacks the resources to end homelessness, you're wrong. According to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, it would cost around $20 billion to end homelessness in the United States. We could come up with that figure by cutting our annual military budget by less than 5%. And this brings us to another problem with the Homeless Veterans Crusade. The curses of mental illness, poverty, and addiction among America's veterans are very real, But the best thing we could do to solve this crisis is to stop making veterans. And again, I'm not disrespecting those who serve in our armed forces. They're heroes, they really are. But veterans only exist because war exists. And for far too long, the American government has been addicted to war. The United States has over 800 military bases in 70 nations around the world. And that's not counting the thousands in our own country. Since 2001, we've spent over $2 trillion and dropped an average of 46 bombs a day in the name of fighting terrorism. The modern war in Afghanistan is estimated to have killed 110,000 civilians, and the 2003 invasion of Iraq has killed anywhere between 100,000 and over 600,000 Iraqis. Nobody ever talks about that. Nobody ever talks about how many people died in Iraq and Afghanistan because of what we've done. And guess what? None of those deaths have made your life any safer, but all of them have been financed by your tax dollars. And again, the individual soldiers, the people, like the actual troops serving in these conflicts, they're not to blame. Obviously not. I'm just saying that when you valorize the experience of the troops, and we should do that, we should point out their individual sacrifice, but you have to balance that with a systemic critique of America's foreign policy. Otherwise, this pointless cycle of death and destruction is just going to continue. And I would argue that if Five Finger Death Punch and their fans were half as tough and manly as they think they are, they'd redirect their rage toward the politicians and the culture that made this imperial monstrosity possible. That was a long rant, and I'm sorry, Cal. I just feel that whenever we deal with this, like, support the troops stuff, like, there's another side to that conversation that nobody ever brings up, and it just has to be said.
No, I fully agree. That's the problem with generic phrases like support the troops. I'll support a troop. I will support, like you said, I respect the individuals that do this. Support the troops as a blanket statement, like any war we're involved in, no matter what happens, and any war crimes we go out and commit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can't sit there and support it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Support the troops can mean many things.
Yes, I mean...
And that's what's weird with a band like Five Finger Death Punch, and I agree with you, it's problematic. One of their albums is literally called War is the Answer, or one of their songs.
Yeah.
And that's when you start to do things like, all right, guys, it's great that you give to charity and everything, but if you didn't, glamorize the cause of these things in the first place...
They do glamorize it. Absolutely they do. I mean, their whole thing with that song Boots and Blood that we played, like, it's only possible in a culture that values these types of experiences and will, go out of its way to create more of them, even if that's not necessarily the best thing in a geopolitical macro sense, right?
Yep.
There's no questioning. As far as I can tell, there are some songs where they kind of say that soldiers get a raw deal from politicians, which is absolutely true in my opinion. But there's never any song that I've seen in Five Finger Death Punch that questioned the need to invade Iraq or stay in Afghanistan for 20 years.
Right.
Or anything like that.
Most of the shit we do.
Yeah, right. And I feel like this is something both parties are guilty of. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, and George W. Bush are all equally guilty of, just not being able to draw down this Death Star that is, the American Defense Department.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying that Five Finger Death Punch are responsible for it. All I'm saying is just at least just try to think about the reasons why we're having these conflicts.
You liberal pussy.
I know. Just a fucking ingrate. Doesn't care about America.
You're a fake.
A fake. All right. So my final verdict is this. Like we said, musically speaking, I don't think Five Finger Death Punch are all that bad. They're not especially creative or innovative, but neither are a lot of bands that I like. I think the hatred they've engendered has a lot more to do with the band's image, as well as the feeling that perhaps they've eclipsed other bands who were perhaps more worthy of their level of success.
If you're a metalhead specifically, I think Five Finger Death Punch is a lot worse to you. Whereas if you're kind of indifferent to the genre, they're just a metal band.
I'm thinking more like if you're weighing them against the other bands that we've covered on this show, which admittedly is a low bar, but like just take 5 random bands. There's like Five Finger Death Punch and the Bee Gees and Nirvana and Green Day and BTS and like Hillary Duff. Like they're like in the middle of that pack, right? It's like not the best, not the worst. Besides the obviously horrific assaults committed by Ivan Moody, I think the most substantive critique you can level against FFDP is that they take shortcuts. They took the headbanging, moshable riffs of metal and stapled them to a vapid, angsty lyrics that a 9-year-old could get. And they knew that there was a vast audience out there for people who were looking for this, and this and nothing more. The kinds of guys that are pissed off at their boss or their ex or their disapproving stepdad, and they're just looking for a musical middle finger to shove in everybody's faces.
Took my genre.
And that's what we've been kind of trying to hint at the whole time, is that heavy metal is one of the most diverse, creative genres in all of music. It's not for everybody. If you don't like metal, we're not going to hold it against you. But if you judge the entirety of heavy metal by the likes of Five Finger Death Punch, all I can say is, burn, motherfucker, burn, motherfucker, burn!
Fuck yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much again for listening. I know it took a while to get this episode out there. We've been kind of taking some time to retool our game. We've got a bunch of new shit coming down the pipeline. We really want to just thank all of you for sticking with us, for sharing us on social media, telling your friends, and just helping this thing grow into something that we're starting to become pretty proud of. Right, Cal?
Oh, hell yeah.
So obviously, we encourage you to reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just Google Polishing Turds. You'll find us eventually. If you want to email us, polishing.
We're first now, man.
Oh yeah, we're getting up in the algorithm. So email us at polishingturdspodcast@gmail.com. We get song and artist suggestions every day, and I welcome every single one of them. It does not annoy me. I really want people.
We will get to yours too.
Yeah,
we'll do it
in the fullness of time. We will get to all of them. So now to play us out, we want to do something a little bit special. We have a close friend and a super fan of the show named Sam. He goes by the musical moniker Samtar. And he puts out independent music that we are both very fond of. He's a very creative and talented musician. So wanted to try playing one of his songs, eh?
Yeah, this one is Drunk Vampire.
Yeah, Drunk Vampire. You can find it on Spotify. Just search for Samtar. Good night, everybody.
All right, play us out, Sam.
Stumbling down the alleyway into his car. There's no more judgment. The pain is finally gone. But where are his thoughts? Where is his voice? These thoughts allow reason to breathe. They allow the mind to live. Please don't take me, I am just a fool. Angel of death, please grant me one more chance. Life ain't that way. Can be snatched away in a heartbeat. Please don't take me, life can't be this cruel. Angel of death, please come give me one more chance. Life is in the me snatched away in a heartbeat. Stumbling through his front door, he keeps on slipping by. Sometimes it seems fate's out of place, but it's no surprise to me. He's reckless in his dreams, he's diabolically crafty in his schemes. This is where reason dies, where ignorance breeds. Please don't take me, I am just a fool. Angel of death, please grant me one more chance. Life ain't that way, can be snatched away in a heartbeat. Please don't take me, life can't be this cruel. Angel of mercy, please grant me wings tonight, so I can live a life free from all the pain you've created. Please don't take me, I am just a fool. Angel of death, please come give me one more chance, so I can live a life free from all the pain I've created.
I've wasted a lot of time and effort on motherfuckers like you. Now it's my turn. 1, 2, 3. Fuck you. Fuck you. You can run away from anything that you have ever done. You're a victim to the system. You're a knife and I'm a gun. You want to be a martyr, but you cannot take the pain. You're a voice without an echo. You're a droplet. I'm the rain. You want me to just turn the other cheek? Want me to admit that I am weak? Want me to submit? That ain't me. That ain't me.